Number 15. Mary Vincent. Lawrence Singleton's horrific crimes and Mary Vincent's remarkable testimony weave a chilling tale of survival, justice, and crime. The harrowing events began on September 29, 1978, when 15-year-old Mary Vincent was hitchhiking in California. Singleton, a 50-year-old merchant seaman, picked her up, promising to take her towards her destination. What followed was an ordeal of unimaginable brutality that would eventually lead to an uncovering of Singleton's violent tendencies and bring attention to his subsequent crimes. After picking up Mary, Singleton drove her to a remote area where he brutally attacked her, but incredibly, Mary survived. She managed to crawl to a nearby road where she was found by a passing couple who rushed her to the hospital. Her incredible courage and will to live were only the beginning of her fight. Mary Vincent's testimony was pivotal in Singleton's trial. She bravely recounted the details of her attack, identifying Singleton as her assailant. Her powerful and emotional testimony led to Singleton's conviction in 1979 on charges of kidnapping, attempted murder, and other offenses. He was sentenced to the maximum term allowed at the time, which was 14 years in prison. However, due to good behavior and other technicalities, Singleton was released on parole after serving just 8 years. Singleton's early release sparked outrage and fear, especially in the communities where he was supposed to reside. Many people protested, and there were difficulties in finding a place for him to live. Eventually, he was relocated to Contra Costa County, where he lived in a trailer on the grounds of San Quentin State Prison for a year until his parole ended. Mary Vincent, despite the horrific trauma she had experienced, rebuilt her life. She became an artist, using her prosthetic arms to paint, and became an advocate for victims' rights. Her resilience and public speaking brought significant attention to the shortcomings in the legal system, particularly in the sentencing of violent offenders. The story took a darker turn when Singleton's violent tendencies resurfaced. On February 19, 1997, he was arrested for the murder of Roxanne Hayes, a 31-year-old mother of 3. Hayes, worker, was found stabbed to death in Singleton's home in Tampa, Florida. This brutal crime underscored Singleton's dangerous nature and his capacity for violence, which Mary Vincent had so poignantly warned about. During Singleton's trial for the murder of Roxanne Hayes, Mary Vincent courageously testified once again, recounting her own horrifying experience and the permanent impact it had on her life. Her testimony highlighted Singleton's brutality and lack of remorse, painting a vivid picture of his violent history. Singleton was convicted and sentenced to death, a sentence he would not serve due to his death from cancer in 2001 while on death row. Number 14. Sean Hornbeck. Sean Hornbeck disappeared on October 6, 2002, when he was just 11 years old. He was riding his bike to a friend's house in Richwoods, Missouri, when he was abducted by Michael Devlin, a pizza parlor manager with a sinister secret life. Devlin, under the pretense of asking for directions, lured Sean into his truck and kidnapped him. What followed was a 4-year nightmare during which Sean was kept captive in Devlin's apartment in Kirkwood, Missouri, just 60 miles from his hometown. In the immediate aftermath of his abduction, Sean was subjected to severe physical abuse as Devlin sought to break his spirit and instill fear. He was tied up, beaten, and threatened with death. Devlin made it clear that any attempt to escape or contact the outside world would result in dire consequences, not only for Sean, but also for his family. This initial period of intense fear and violence set the stage for the years of psychological captivity that would follow. Devlin created a new identity for Sean, introducing him as his son, Sean Devlin. This fictitious identity allowed Sean to attend school and interact with the community, albeit under the constant threat of harm. Living as Devlin's son, Sean was forced to adhere to a carefully controlled narrative. Devlin monitored his every move and maintained strict control over his interactions, ensuring that Sean could never reveal his true identity or otherwise seek help. Devlin employed a range of psychological tactics to maintain his control over Sean. By alternating between threats of violence and moments of apparent kindness, Devlin created a complex and confusing emotional environment. This manipulation deepened Sean's sense of helplessness and dependence, making escape seem impossible. Sean later described feeling as though he had no choice but to comply with Devlin's demands, despite the opportunities for contact with others that his daily life presented. One of the most insidious aspects of Sean's captivity was the way Devlin manipulated him into believing that any attempt to escape would put his family at risk. Devlin's threats were taken seriously by Sean, who, despite his moments of interaction with the outside world, remained too frightened to seek help. This psychological stranglehold was a key factor in Sean's long-term captivity. Sean's daily life during captivity was paradoxically both normal and profoundly abnormal. He attended local schools, made friends, and participated in community activities. To outsiders, Sean appeared to be a typical teenager living with his father. This facade of normalcy was a crucial element to Devlin's strategy to avoid detection. However, Sean's interactions were always closely monitored, and he lived under the constant fear of retribution if he revealed his true identity. Despite the public appearances, Sean's life was far from ordinary. He was subjected to repeated and lived under strict rules designed to prevent any escape attempts. The mental and emotional toll of this abuse was compounded by the isolation from his real family and the constant threat of violence. The turning point came in January 2007, when Devlin abducted another boy, 13-year-old Ben Ownby, in a similar manner to Sean's abduction. This bold move led to Devlin's downfall. Ben had just gotten off the school bus in Beaufort, Missouri, and witnesses reported seeing a white truck speeding away from the scene of the abduction. This provided a crucial lead to law enforcement. The circumstances surrounding Sean's disappearance remained a mystery for years. His family never gave up hope, continuing their search and keeping his case in the public eye. On January 12, 2007, police executed a search warrant at Devlin's apartment. In what would later be called the Missouri Miracle, both Ben Ownby and Sean Hornbeck were found alive. Sean was now 15 years old and had been missing for over 4 years. The discovery of the two boys together was a shocking and joyous moment, bringing relief and closure to their families and the broader community. Michael Devlin was arrested and charged with multiple counts of kidnapping, child endangerment, and during the investigation, it was revealed that Devlin had meticulously planned and executed both kidnappings, preying on young boys in seemingly safe environments. His arrest and subsequent conviction not only brought justice for Sean and Ben, but also highlighted the importance of community vigilance and the critical role of eyewitness accounts in solving such cases. Devlin eventually pleaded guilty to all charges and was sentenced to 74 life terms plus 2,020 years in prison, ensuring that he would never pose a threat to society again. The case underscored the importance of never giving up hope and the impact that community awareness and involvement can have in solving crimes and bringing missing children home. The case drew significant media attention, and Sean Hornbeck's story of survival became a symbol of hope for other families of missing children. After his rescue, Sean and his family established the Sean Hornbeck Foundation, aimed at helping other families with missing children and raising awareness about child safety. Sean's story also sparked discussions about the psychological impact of prolonged captivity and the complex relationship between captor and captive, a psychological phenomenon often referred to as Stockholm Syndrome. Despite the trauma he endured, Sean's resilience and the support of his family and community helped him begin the long process of healing and rebuilding his life. The rescue of Sean Hornbeck and Ben Ownby emphasizes the strength of the human spirit and the importance of perseverance in the face of unimaginable adversity. Their stories continue to inspire and bring attention to the ongoing issue of child abduction and the vital need for community and law enforcement collaboration in protecting the most vulnerable among us. Number 13. Luca Magnotta. Luca Magnotta, a name that became synonymous with his heinous crimes, was brought into the public eye in a chilling manner that intertwined the world of online sleuths and real-world horror. The Netflix documentary Don't F with Cats, Hunting an Internet Killer detailed how a community of internet users uncovered a series of brutal acts that eventually led to the exposure of a horrific murderer. The documentary highlights both Magnotta's gruesome activities and the relentless efforts of these digital detectives to bring him to justice. Magnotta first gained notoriety through a series of videos posted online in 2010, where he was seen and killing kittens. These videos, which showed the creator suffocating kittens in a vacuum-sealed bag and feeding one to a python, horrified viewers and led to the formation of a Facebook group dedicated to identifying and stopping the perpetrator. The group, led by Deanna Thompson, using the pseudonym Body Movin', and John Green, meticulously analyzed every detail in the videos, from objects in the background to reflections in mirrors, to pinpoint Magnotta's location and identity. Despite their detailed work, law enforcement initially did not take the threat seriously, and Magnotta remained free to continue his cruel acts. However, the relentless pursuit by the online community eventually exposed his identity as Luca Magnotta, a small-time Canadian actor with aspirations of fame. Their investigative efforts documented in the series showcase their dedication and the impact that online communities can have in real-world investigations. Magnotta's crimes escalated dramatically. On May 25, 2012, he posted a video titled "One Lunatic, One Ice Pick" on bestgore.com, depicting the gruesome murder of Jun Lin, a Chinese international student. The connection between the animal abuse videos and the murder was quickly made by the online sleuths who had been tracking Magnotta. Their extensive dossier on him, compiled over years of meticulous work, provided crucial information to law enforcement. This evidence included Magnotta's online aliases, his connections to various locations, and behavioral patterns. Their efforts significantly aided the police in understanding the scope and escalation of Magnotta's criminal behavior. Magnotta fled Canada after the murder, sparking an international manhunt. He was eventually apprehended in Berlin on June 4, 2012, after being recognized in an internet cafe. The cafe attendant saw Magnotta reading news stories about himself and alerted authorities. He was extradited back to Canada, where he faced numerous charges, including first-degree murder, committing an indignity to a body, and distributing obscene material. During his trial, which began in September 2014, Magnotta pleaded not guilty, claiming insanity. However, the jury found him guilty on all counts in December 2014, and he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 25 years. The trial revealed chilling details of his psychological state and his obsession with notoriety, which included creating false stories about himself to generate media attention. The Netflix documentary highlighted not only the brutality of Magnotta's crimes, but also the power and dedication of the online community that played a critical role in his capture. Their work demonstrated how digital footprints and collective action can bring criminals to justice, even when traditional law enforcement methods initially fall short. Today, Luc Magnotta remains in a Canadian prison, while the legacy of his crimes and the dedicated pursuit of justice by internet sleuths continue to be discussed and analyzed. The case underscores the dark potential of the internet to both facilitate and solve crimes, and it serves as a reminder of the critical role that vigilant and compassionate individuals can play in seeking justice for the most heinous acts. Number 12. Richard Evanitz. Richard Evanitz, a seemingly ordinary man with a dark and sinister double life, was exposed as a serial killer whose heinous crimes only came to light after the desperate escape of one of his intended victims. His story is one of hidden horrors, a meticulous facade, and the bravery of a young girl that ultimately led to his downfall. Richard Mark Evanitz was born on July 29, 1963, in Columbia, South Carolina. His early life was defined by a blend of normalcy and underlying issues. Raised in a middle-class family, he was known to be intelligent and capable, graduating high school with good grades and serving in the U.S. Navy. Evanitz's career in the Navy was commendable, and after his discharge, he found stable employment as a sales manager at a compressor company. To those around him, Evanitz appeared to be a responsible and hard-working individual. Evanitz married Bonnie Lou Gower in 1988, and by all outward appearances, their marriage was stable. However, Gower later revealed that their relationship was fraught with control and manipulation. Unbeknownst to her, Evanitz was harboring a dark obsession that would soon manifest in a series of brutal crimes. The first known crime occurred on September 9, 1996, when Sophia Silva, a 16-year-old girl from Spotsylvania County, Virginia, vanished from her front yard. Her body was found a month later in a creek, wrapped in a blanket. In May 1997, evidence abducted sisters Kristen and Katie Lisk, aged 15 and 12, from their home in the same county. Their bodies were discovered 5 days later in a river, with evidence of and strangulation. Evidence managed to evade detection by law enforcement for years, leading a double life that hid his monstrous tendencies. His ability to blend into society and maintain a facade of normalcy made him a particularly dangerous predator. The breakthrough in the case came on June 24, 2002, when 15-year-old Cara Robinson Chamberlain was abducted from her friend's front yard in Columbia, South Carolina. Evidence took her to his apartment, where he restrained and assaulted her. In a remarkable display of courage and quick thinking, Robinson managed to escape the following morning while evidence was asleep. Robinson's escape was the turning point in the investigation. She provided detailed descriptions of evidence in his apartment, which led the police to his doorstep. Realizing he was being pursued, evidence fled, triggering a multi-state manhunt. The chase ended on June 27, 2002, in Sarasota, Florida, where evidence took his own life as police closed in. The investigation into Evidence's background revealed a trove of evidence linking him to the murders of Sophia Silva and the Lisk sisters. Items belonging to the victims were found in his possession, and the meticulous records he kept provided further proof of his guilt. The FBI and local law enforcement agencies were finally able to close these cases, bringing some measure of closure to the families of the victims. Further scrutiny of Evidence's life uncovered a pattern of behavior that suggested he may have been responsible for other unsolved cases. His extensive travel for work and the presence of similar unsolved abductions in areas where he had lived or visited led investigators to consider the possibility of additional victims. The FBI continues to examine his activities in an effort to link him to other crimes. Evidence's wife, Bonnie Lou Gower, was left in a state of shock and disbelief. She had no knowledge of her husband's double life and struggled to reconcile the man she knew with the monster exposed by the investigation. Gower later shared her story, highlighting the control and manipulation she experienced during their marriage, which prevented her from seeing the signs of his criminal behavior. Number 11. The Phoenix Lights. The Phoenix Lights incident is one of the most widely reported and debated UFO sightings in modern history. On the night of March 13, 1997, thousands of people across Arizona, particularly in the densely populated Phoenix area, witnessed a series of mysterious lights in the sky. The event sparked immediate fascination, fear, and speculation, and it continues to be a topic of intense debate and study today. On that fateful night, witnesses reported seeing two distinct events involving lights in the sky. The first was a triangular formation of lights moving silently across the sky, while the second event involved a series of stationary lights that appeared to hover over the Phoenix area for several hours. The sightings began around 7:30 p.m. and continued until about 10:30 p.m., with reports coming in that they were visible from as far away as Nevada and Sonora, Mexico. The initial reaction to the Phoenix Lights was one of shock and confusion. Local news stations were inundated with calls from residents who had seen the lights, and amateur astronomers and skywatchers alike scrambled to find explanations. Footage of the lights quickly spread, and the event received national and even international media coverage. Arizona Governor Fife Symington held a press conference, initially making light of the situation by bringing out an aide dressed in an alien costume, but later revealed that he had also witnessed the lights and believed them to be of extraterrestrial origin. Numerous theories have been proposed to explain the Phoenix Lights. The most widely accepted explanation came from the U.S. Air Force, which stated that the lights were flares dropped by an A-10 Warthog aircraft during a training exercise at the Barry Goldwater Range. The Air Force's explanation accounted for the stationary lights seen later in the evening, as the flares would have been visible for a considerable distance. However, this explanation did not satisfy everyone, particularly those who had witnessed the earlier triangular formation. Some suggested that the lights were part of a secret military project, possibly involving advanced aircraft or technology not yet known to the public. Others firmly believe the lights were extraterrestrial in origin, pointing to the sheer number of witnesses and the lack of sound accompanying the lights as evidence that they could not have been conventional aircraft. Further fueling the mystery, some witnesses claim that the lights exhibited behavior inconsistent with flares, such as maintaining a precise formation and moving at a slow, steady pace. Skeptics argue that these sightings could be attributed to a combination of aircraft lights, flares, and other natural or man-made phenomena, but the lack of a definitive explanation has kept the debate alive. The Phoenix Lights phenomenon has had a lasting impact on both popular culture and the scientific community. It's been featured in numerous documentaries, books, and films, and has sparked ongoing interest in the study of UFOs. In 2008, former Governor Symington participated in a press conference organized by the Coalition for Freedom of Information, calling for more transparency and investigation into the event. Today, the Phoenix Lights remain an open case, with both believers and skeptics continuing to examine and debate the evidence. The incident is often cited in discussions about the possibility of extraterrestrial life and the need for greater openness from governments regarding unidentified aerial phenomena. The Phoenix Lights fuel our fascination with the unknown and remind us that there are mysteries that still lie beyond our understanding. While the U.S. Air Force's flare explanation addresses part of the phenomenon, the questions surrounding the earlier triangular formation persist. For many, the Phoenix Lights symbolize the tantalizing possibility that we are not alone in the universe. Number 10. The Vidocq Society. The Vidocq Society is an exclusive crime-solving club based in Philadelphia, named after Eugène-François Vidocq, a 19th century Frenchman widely considered to be the first private detective. Founded in 1990, this group consists of seasoned forensic professionals, including retired detectives, FBI agents, forensic psychologists, and other experts in the crime-solving field. They gather monthly to analyze and discuss cold cases that have stumped local law enforcement. The Society's unique approach and collective expertise often uncover hidden connections and motives that local authorities may overlook due to biases or lack of resources. Scott Dunn, a 24-year-old Texas man, disappeared in 1999 under suspicious circumstances. Bloodstains found in his apartment suggested foul play, but without a body, the case quickly went cold. It wasn't until the mid-1990s, when the Vidocq Society agreed to take on Dunn's case, that significant progress was made. The Society's members, utilizing their diverse expertise, re-examined the blood spatter patterns and DNA evidence from Dunn's apartment. Their analysis pointed towards a more sinister scenario than initially considered by local law enforcement. The Vidocq Society's investigation revealed that Dunn's longtime girlfriend, Leisha Hamilton, was the likely perpetrator. Hamilton had a motive tied to financial disputes and personal conflicts, which local investigators had overlooked. The case was one of many that have highlighted the Vidocq Society's ability to provide fresh perspectives and leverage advanced forensic techniques to solve complex cases. Their findings were instrumental in securing Hamilton's conviction, and she's currently serving a 20-year sentence in a federal penitentiary. The Society has gone on to solve and abate in other notable cases, providing insight, funding, and resources where law enforcement can't. In December 1976, the dismembered body of a young pregnant woman, dubbed Beth Doe, was found along the Lehigh River in Pennsylvania. The case baffled local authorities for decades, with no leads or identification of the victim. When the Vidocq Society took on the case, they re-examined the forensic evidence, focusing on the unusual aspects of the dismemberment and the method of body disposal. Their fresh perspective and advanced forensic techniques eventually led to identifying the victim as Evelyn Colin in 2021, and her murderer, Louis Sierra, was subsequently arrested and charged. Dana Bailey, a student at Pennsylvania State University, was brutally murdered in her apartment in 1987. Despite the collection of evidence and numerous interviews conducted by law enforcement, the case went cold. The Vidocq Society reviewed the case and noted several overlooked details, such as a possible connection to another unsolved assault in the area. Their insights helped local authorities to refocus their investigation, and although the case remains officially unsolved, the Society's involvement brought renewed attention and hope for resolution to this formerly cold case. In 1991, Joyce Clint disappeared from her home in Iowa. Despite extensive searches and investigations, no trace of her was found. The Vidocq Society took an interest in the case and provided critical insights into the possible motives and behaviors of the perpetrator. Their analysis suggested a close acquaintance might be involved, which led local authorities to re-examine evidence and interviews. This shift in focus eventually led to the discovery of her remains and the arrest of a suspect known to the family. In 1957, the body was found in a cardboard box in Philadelphia. Despite widespread media attention and numerous theories, which proliferated for years, the case went cold. The Vidocq Society applied modern forensic techniques and reanalyzed old evidence, including the boy's hair and the box he was found in. Their work suggested new investigative avenues, such as tracing the origins of the box and potentially familial connections through genetic genealogy. After more than half a century, the boy was identified as Joseph Augustus Zarelli. Although the case of Zarelli's homicide remains unsolved, the Society's involvement has provided crucial new leads and hope for future resolution. In 1986, Sherry Ray Rasmussen was found murdered in her home in Los Angeles. Initially believed to be a burglary gone wrong, the case went cold for over 2 decades. The Vidocq Society's involvement highlighted overlooked forensic evidence and inconsistencies in the initial investigation. Their insights led to the re-examination of evidence, including DNA from a bite mark on the victim, which eventually pointed to a suspect within the LAPD, leading to the arrest and conviction of Stephanie Lazarus, a former LAPD detective. The Vidocq Society employs a multidisciplinary approach, combining the expertise of forensic scientists, psychologists, and former law enforcement officers. They meticulously review every detail of a case, often uncovering new evidence or reinterpreting old evidence with the help of modern technology. Their collaborative work style allows for a comprehensive analysis that local authorities may lack the resources or expertise to conduct. The Society's work not only helps solve cold cases, but also provides valuable training and insights to local law enforcement, improving their investigative techniques and increasing the chances of solving future cases. Their advisory role ensures that the credit for solving the case goes to the local authorities, fostering cooperation and trust between the Society and law enforcement agencies. Number 9. The Mothman Prophecies. The legend of the Mothman, that mysterious and eerie cryptid, has captivated imaginations and stirred up fear since its first reported sighting in the 1960s. Emerging from the shadows in West Virginia, this creature quickly became a fixture of American paranormal folklore. The world was introduced to the Mothman on November 12, 1966, when 5 men were at work digging a grave in a cemetery near Clendenin, West Virginia. They reported seeing a man-like figure with large wings soaring over their heads. Little did they know that this strange encounter would only be the beginning. 3 days later, on November 15, 1966, 2 young couples, Roger and Linda Scarier and Steve and Mary Mallett, were driving near the old TNT plant north of Point Pleasant. They described seeing a creature shaped like a man, but bigger, maybe 6 or 7 feet tall, with big wings folded against its back. Its eyes, blazing red, reflected their car's headlights. The creature chased their vehicle at incredible speeds as the couples fled in panic. Linda Scarier later recounted the event, saying it wasn't like anything you'd see on TV or in a monster movie. It had wings and was shaped like a man, but bigger. The eyes were what got us. It had big, red eyes like a car's headlights, just glaring at us. Over the next year, over 100 reports of similar sightings poured in from various witnesses. Some described the creature standing in their yards, while others saw it flying over the nearby Ohio River. The Mothman seemed to hover over the town, a dark specter bringing fear and fascination in equal measure. One notable sighting was reported by Marcella Bennett, who, along with her baby daughter, witnessed the creature near the defunct munitions factory where the Scarberries and Mallets had glimpsed it. She recounted, "We were getting in the car when we saw it. It was standing beside the car, and it was looking right at us. Its eyes were red and glowing, and I could see its wings behind it. I just froze." These sightings often occurred near what locals called the TNT area, a desolate spot once used for munitions manufacturing during World War II. The area's abandoned bunkers and overgrown vegetation provided the perfect backdrop for such chilling encounters. Some locals believe the Mothman was drawn to this area due to its isolation, while others speculated that the creature might have emerged from the toxic remnants of wartime production. One of the most unnerving aspects of these encounters remains the consistent description of the creature's eyes. Virtually every witness reported the Mothman's eyes as glowing red, a detail that has only added to the creature's otherworldly and terrifying aura. These accounts were often accompanied by feelings of intense dread and helplessness, as if the creature's gaze alone could paralyze its observers with fear. The wave of sightings culminated in a tragic event that would forever link the Mothman to disaster. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge, which connected Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed during rush hour, sending 46 people to their deaths. Many locals believed the Mothman sightings were an omen, a premonition of the catastrophe to come. This tragic event cemented the Mothman's reputation as a harbinger of doom, a spectral figure whose presence foretold calamity. In the years following the bridge collapse, the frequency of Mothman sightings dwindled, but the legend lived on. Occasionally, reports would emerge from other parts of the United States, and even from as far away as Russia, where witnesses described a similar winged creature with glowing red eyes. These sporadic sightings have kept the mystery alive, suggesting that the Mothman might be more than just a local legend. Over the decades, the Mothman has evolved from a regional curiosity to an international icon of the paranormal. Books, documentaries, and even a feature film, The Mothman Prophecies, have explored the mystery, each adding their own spin to the legend. The annual Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant attracts thousands of visitors, eager to delve into the history and lore of this spectral figure. Despite the commercial and cultural fascination, the Mothman remains a mystery. Sightings have continued sporadically over the years, not only in West Virginia, but across the globe. These reports have kept the legend alive, fueling both scientific inquiry and speculative debate. Researchers and enthusiasts alike have scoured historical records, analyzed witness accounts, and investigated potential evidence, yet the true nature of the Mothman eludes definitive explanation. Some believe the creature is a cryptid, an undiscovered species akin to Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. Others suggest it's a supernatural entity, perhaps a ghost or demon, warning of impending doom. A more scientific theory posits that the Mothman could be a sandhill crane or an owl, misidentified in the darkness, its eyes reflecting ambient light. Some others believe that the Mothman is an extraterrestrial being, visiting Earth and interacting with humans before disappearing again. Today, the Mothman stands out as one of the most well-known modern myths. It embodies our deepest fears and curiosities about the unknown. Whether viewed as a supernatural sentinel or a figment of collective imagination, the Mothman continues to capture the human imagination, urging us to look to the skies and ponder the unknown. Number 8. Baltic Sea Anomaly. The Baltic Sea Anomaly, discovered in June 2011 by the Ocean X team, is a mysterious underwater formation that has mystified scientists and captivated conspiracy theorists. Situated at the bottom of the Baltic Sea between Sweden and Finland, the anomaly is an unusual circular structure measuring approximately 60 meters in diameter. The initial sonar images revealed what appeared to be a disc-shaped object with stair-like features and a long runway or skid marks leading to it, giving it an almost otherworldly appearance. This bizarre discovery quickly sparked theories attempting to explain its origin and nature. One of the most popular theories is that the Baltic Sea anomaly is a crashed UFO, with its peculiar shape and the unusual electromagnetic disturbances reported by divers adding fuel to this hypothesis. Proponents of this idea suggest that the anomaly could be a long-lost extraterrestrial craft, potentially dating back thousands of years, lying hidden beneath the sea. Another intriguing theory posits that the anomaly could be the remnants of a sunken World War II anti-submarine device, or even a piece of experimental technology that was lost during the war. The structure's distinct, artificial-looking features and its semblance to modern-day machinery support this notion, and some are certain that the object is a man-made one from a more recent historical period. Some scientists argue that the Baltic Sea anomaly is a natural geological formation, shaped by glacial activity during the last ice age. They suggest that the structure's unusual appearance could be the result of natural rock formations and sediment deposits, sculpted over millennia by moving glaciers. This theory, while less sensational, provides a plausible explanation grounded in widely understood geological processes. However, divers who have attempted to study the anomaly up close have reported strange malfunctions in their equipment, including electronic failures and unexpected power drains. These reports have led to speculation that the anomaly might possess unique electromagnetic properties, adding another layer of intrigue to the already perplexing discovery. Despite numerous dives and investigations, the true nature of the Baltic Sea anomaly remains unknown. Samples taken from the site have not provided definitive answers, and the object continues to defy easy classification. Whether a relic of an ancient civilization, a piece of modern technology lost to history, or a natural formation misinterpreted by eager minds, the anomaly continues to captivate and confound. Number 7. Piri Reis Map. The Piri Reis Map, one of the most mysterious artifacts in the history of cartography, has fascinated historians, geographers, and conspiracy theorists since its discovery. This early 16th century map, created by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer Piri Reis, is renowned for its depiction of parts of the world that were supposedly unknown to contemporary explorers. The map's mysterious accuracy and the theories surrounding it continue to provoke debate and speculation about the knowledge and capabilities of ancient civilizations. The Piri Reis map was discovered in 1929 by German theologian Gustav Adolf Deissmann. During renovations of the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, Deissmann was cataloging non-Islamic artifacts in the palace's library when he stumbled upon a fragment of a map drawn on a gazelle skin parchment. This fragment turned out to be part of a world map dated to 1513, created by Piri Reis, a well-respected Ottoman admiral. The map's significance was quickly recognized due to its detailed and accurate depiction of the western coasts of Europe, North Africa, and notably the eastern coast of South America. The Piri Reis map is unique for several reasons. It combines elements from various sources, including earlier maps and possibly even now lost charts from ancient mariners. The map's annotations reveal that Piri Reis utilized at least 20 different maps and charts, including ones from Greek, Portuguese, Spanish, and Arabic sources. Most intriguingly, the map depicts parts of the South American coast in considerable detail, long before European explorers were known to have fully mapped the continent. One of the most controversial aspects of the map is its depiction of what some believe to be the northern coast of Antarctica, free from ice. This has led to a plethora of theories about its origins and the knowledge it represents. One of the most popular theories suggests that the Piri Reis map is evidence of a highly advanced ancient civilization that possessed sophisticated geographical knowledge long before known human history. Proponents of this theory argue that the detailed depiction of South America and the Antarctic coast suggests that these lands were explored by seafaring civilizations thousands of years ago, potentially even during an ice-free period. Another theory posits that the map reflects knowledge passed down from the lost city of Atlantis, as described by Plato. According to this view, Atlantis was a technologically advanced civilization with extensive maritime capabilities, and the Piri Reis map is an example of their advanced cartographic skills. A more conventional explanation is that the map incorporates information from early Portuguese and Spanish explorers who had ventured far along the South American coast. It is well documented that by the early 16th century, European explorers had already reached many parts of South America. The map could therefore be a compilation of their explorations, albeit surprisingly accurate for its time. The depiction of Antarctica on the map has also sparked significant debate. Some scholars argue that the coastline could be a misinterpretation or a distorted representation of the southernmost tips of South America. Others suggest that the map might reflect a pre-glacial coastline of Antarctica, implying ancient cartographers had knowledge of the continent before it was covered in ice, possibly through now-lost sources or observations during a different climatic period. The Piri Reis map provides a fascinating glimpse into the knowledge and capabilities of early 16th century cartographers. Piri Reis himself demonstrated the interconnectedness of different cultures and the exchange of geographical knowledge by compiling the map from such a wide variety of sources. From a historical perspective, the map is significant because it highlights the extent of Ottoman naval power and the breadth of their knowledge during this period. The Ottoman Empire, with its vast territories and extensive trade networks, had access to a wealth of information from different parts of the world. Piri Reis map is a testament to this multicultural exchange of knowledge. If the theories suggesting ancient or lost civilizations with advanced geographical knowledge are true, the implications would be profound. It would mean reevaluating our understanding of human history and the capabilities of early civilizations. Such a discovery could potentially point to a forgotten chapter in human development, characterized by seafaring cultures with sophisticated navigational and cartographic skills. However, the more plausible explanations still underscore the remarkable achievements of early modern explorers and the global exchange of knowledge that occurred long before the era of globalization as we know it. The Piri Reis map, whether viewed through the lens of mystery or historical achievement, continues to captivate and challenge our perceptions of the past. Whether it's evidence of a lost civilization, a reflection of early European exploration, or a testament to the interconnectedness of the ancient world, the map continues to intrigue scholars and enthusiasts alike. Its discovery has opened up debates and discussions that bridge the gap between history and mystery, ensuring that the Piri Reis map will remain a subject of fascination for generations to come. Number 6. Voynich Manuscript. The Voynich manuscript remains one of the most talked about artifacts in the history of literature and cryptography. Discovered in 1912 by Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer, the manuscript is named after him and is housed at the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library at Yale University. Its pages are filled with strange, as yet indecipherable text, and bizarre, fantastical illustrations of plants, astrological symbols, and naked figures, all part of a puzzle that has yet to be solved. The manuscript's known history begins when Voynich purchased it from a Jesuit college in Frascati, Italy. Voynich was intrigued by its indecipherable script and sought to unlock its secrets. The manuscript's history significantly predates Voynich's acquisition, with evidence suggesting it was owned by Emperor Rudolf II of Bohemia in the late 16th century, who purchased it for a significant sum, believing it to be the work of the English philosopher Roger Bacon. The manuscript passed through various hands, including those of alchemists and scholars, before ending up in the Jesuit library. Throughout its journey, it captivated everyone who encountered it, yet the meaning of its contents always remained a mystery. The manuscript is believed to date back to the early 15th century, around 1404 to 1438, based on radiocarbon dating of the vellum on which it was written. Numerous theories abound regarding the manuscript's origins and purpose. Some believe it to be a pharmacopoeia, an ancient herbal medicine guide due to its detailed botanical drawings. Others suggest it's an astrological or alchemical text, given the presence of zodiac symbols and strange alchemical diagrams. One of the most tantalizing theories is that the Voynich manuscript could be a relic from a lost language or civilization. If this were true, it would have profound implications for our understanding of history and human development. Deciphering the manuscript could reveal insights into a previously unknown culture, their scientific knowledge, medicinal practices, or even their mythology and worldview. Such a discovery would reshape our understanding of human history, offering a glimpse into a civilization that has left no other apparent traces. Another theory posits that the manuscript is an elaborate medieval hoax, designed to confound or impress. This theory suggests that the manuscript's text is meaningless, created by an unknown author using random combinations of characters to simulate a real language. If this is the case, the manuscript serves as a historical curiosity, a testament to the creativity and ingenuity of its creator. Many researchers have attempted to decipher the text, hypothesizing that it's written in a code or cipher that has yet to be cracked. Cryptographers, including those from the NSA, have analyzed the manuscript using sophisticated techniques, yet no one has succeeded in breaking the code. If the manuscript is indeed a cipher, successfully decoding it could potentially reveal hidden knowledge or secrets that have remained undiscovered for centuries. Modern technology has allowed for more detailed analysis of the manuscript than ever before. High-resolution scans and multispectral imaging have enabled researchers to study the manuscript's intricate details. Computational linguists have applied statistical methods to analyze the text, comparing it to known languages and scripts. Despite these efforts, the manuscript's secrets remain elusive. Some recent studies suggest the manuscript could be written in a constructed language, a blend of known languages, or even an early form of shorthand. These theories highlight the manuscript's complexity and the innovative thinking of its creator. Each new hypothesis and analysis adds another layer to the manuscript's enduring mystery. The Voynich manuscript and its long, mysterious history are among humanity's most captivating puzzles. Whether it's a relic from a lost civilization, a medieval hoax, or an undeciphered code, its allure lies in its mystery and the potential for discovery it represents. If one day the manuscript is deciphered, it could reveal profound insights into our past, or it might simply reaffirm the creativity of our ancestors. Number 5. Oak Island. Oak Island, a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, has lured treasure hunters and mystery enthusiasts for over 2 centuries. Its allure lies in the legendary Money Pit, a site where countless expeditions have sought to uncover buried treasure, only to be thwarted by complex underground booby traps and confusing clues. The island's history and the tales of a hidden treasure have given rise to numerous theories, earning it a place in the annals of unsolved mysteries. The story of Oak Island's treasure hunt began in 1795, when a young boy named Daniel McGinnis discovered a depression in the ground while exploring the island. Intrigued, he and his friends began digging, uncovering a layer of flagstones and, later, wooden platforms at regular intervals. As they dug deeper, water began to flood the pit, halting their efforts. This initial discovery set off a frenzy of treasure hunting that continues to this day. The most compelling aspect of Oak Island's mystery is the so-called Money Pit, a shaft that has been dug and redug by various expeditions over the years. Each team encountered similar obstacles: water flooding the shaft, layers of logs, coconut fiber, which is not native to the region, and mysterious stone carvings. The pit is believed to be a sophisticated system of tunnels and traps designed to protect whatever lies at its bottom. The lore surrounding Oak Island is also darkened by tales of a curse that foretells the deaths of 7 men before the treasure can be found. To date, 6 people have died in the pursuit of Oak Island's treasure, each adding to the island's eerie reputation. In one of the earliest documented tragedies, an unnamed member of the original McGinnis group died after falling into a flooded shaft. This accident highlighted the dangers of the island's booby-trapped pit and set a grim tone for future expeditions. The most tragic event occurred on August 17, 1965, when Robert Restall, his son Bobby, and 2 other workers died from gas poisoning in one of the island's shafts. Robert Restall had spent years and much of his fortune in the quest for the treasure, only to meet a tragic end when he was overcome by hydrogen sulfide fumes while working in the pit. His son and 2 other workers also perished in a desperate attempt to rescue him. Further adding to the mystery are reports of strange artifacts found on the island. These include an inscribed stone allegedly discovered in the 19th century that, when deciphered, read 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. However, the authenticity of this stone and its inscription is disputed. Other artifacts that have been found include old coins, bits of parchment, and even pieces of human bone, suggesting that whatever is buried on the island has a complex and possibly sinister history. The mystery of Oak Island has spawned a multitude of theories regarding the origins and nature of the buried treasure, and the tales of those who have pursued it are equally compelling. The island's allure is deepened by the legends of a curse and the tragic deaths that have occurred over the centuries. One of the earliest and most enduring theories is that the treasure belongs to an infamous pirate, such as Captain Kidd or Blackbeard. These notorious figures were known to have hidden their plunder in secretive locations, and Oak Island's complex pit and tunnels fit the profile of a sophisticated island hiding spot. Supporters of this theory suggest that the treasure could include gold, silver, and other valuable artifacts taken from countless ships. Another compelling theory posits that the treasure is linked to the Knights Templar, a medieval Christian military order that amassed great wealth. Some believe that after the Templars were disbanded in the early 14th century, they hid their treasures, including religious artifacts such as the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant. Proponents of this theory point to the intricate design of the money pit, which they argue could only have been constructed by a group with significant resources and engineering knowledge. A more literary theory suggests that the pit contains original manuscripts of William Shakespeare's plays. This idea is tied to the controversial claim that Shakespeare was not the true author of the works attributed to him. Proponents of this theory suggest that the real author, possibly Sir Francis Bacon or another contemporary, hid the manuscripts to protect their true identity. Another theory involves treasure from a Spanish galleon that sank off the coast of Nova Scotia. It's speculated that survivors of the shipwreck might have buried the cargo on Oak Island for safekeeping, intending to return later, but never doing so. This treasure would include gold, silver, and other valuables from the New World, hidden to prevent capture by other European powers. Some theorists suggest that the Vikings, who explored parts of North America around 1000 AD, might have buried their loot on Oak Island. This theory, though less popular, adds another layer of historical intrigue, proposing that the island's secrets might predate European colonization. Today, the search for Oak Island's treasure continues, driven by modern technology and the relentless enthusiasm of treasure hunters. The History Channel's The Curse of Oak Island has brought international attention to the quest, chronicling the efforts of Rick and Marty Lagina and their team as they employ state-of-the-art equipment to uncover new clues. Despite extensive exploration, the ultimate treasure remains elusive. However, numerous artifacts have been discovered, including old coins, metal fragments, and tools, which provide tantalizing hints of historical activity on the island. Some researchers believe these finds suggest that Oak Island was used by multiple groups over the centuries, each adding to the complex network of tunnels and traps. The island has become a significant tourist attraction, with guided tours offering visitors a chance to explore the mystery firsthand. Theories continue to evolve, fueled by new discoveries and the enduring allure of the unknown. Number 4. The Taos Hum. The Taos Hum is one of the most perplexing and enduring acoustic mysteries in the world, puzzling scientists, audiologists, and residents alike since the early 1990s. Originating from the small town of Taos in northern New Mexico, this low-frequency humming noise is said to be heard by a small percentage of the population, yet its source remains unidentified despite numerous investigations. The first widespread reports of the Taos hum began in the early 1990s. Residents of Taos, a town known for its rich cultural history and artistic community, started complaining about a persistent, low-frequency noise that could be heard both indoors and outdoors. Descriptions of the hum varied, with some comparing it to the sound of a distant diesel engine idling, while others described it as a low rumbling or droning noise. The phenomenon was quickly dubbed the Taos hum, and as reports spread, it became clear that only a small fraction of the population, estimated between 2% to 10%, could actually hear the hum. In response to the growing number of complaints, a formal investigation was initiated in 1993, involving scientists from various institutions, including Los Alamos National Laboratory, Sandia National Laboratories, and the University of New Mexico. The team employed a range of techniques, including sound level measurements and psychoacoustic studies, to try to pinpoint the source of the hum. However, despite their efforts, they were unable to identify a definitive cause. No consistent acoustic signal corresponding to the hum was detected, and the phenomenon remained unexplained. Numerous theories have been proposed over the years to explain the Taos hum, ranging from the scientific to the supernatural. Some researchers have suggested that the hum could be caused by natural geological processes. This theory posits that the interaction of tectonic plates or underground volcanic activity could generate low-frequency vibrations. However, no direct evidence has been found to support this theory in the Taos region. Another plausible theory is that the hum originates from industrial or mechanical sources, such as high-pressure gas lines, electrical transformers, or distant factories. While these sources are known to produce low-frequency noises, thorough investigations of Taos have not identified any industrial or mechanical equipment that could be responsible for the hum heard by residents. Infrasound refers to sound waves with frequencies below the lower limit of human hearing, below 20 Hz. Some scientists speculate that infrasound generated by natural or man-made sources could be responsible for the Taos hum. This theory is supported by the fact that infrasound can travel long distances and penetrate buildings. However, infrasound measurements in the area have not revealed any unusual levels that could account for the hum. Another hypothesis involves electromagnetic radiation, such as that produced by power lines or communication devices. This theory suggests that some individuals may be more sensitive to electromagnetic fields, perceiving them as sound. However, studies have not found any significant electromagnetic anomalies in Taos that could explain the hum. Some experts believe the hum could be a form of tinnitus, a condition characterized by hearing noises that are not caused by external sound sources. Psychological factors such as stress or heightened sensitivity to certain frequencies could also play a role. This theory is supported by the variability in reports of the hum and the fact that not everyone hears it. However, many who hear the hum insist that it is an external sound, not a symptom of a medical condition. As with many unexplained phenomena, the Taos hum has attracted supernatural and extraterrestrial explanations. Some believe the hum could be caused by alien activity or government experiments. These theories, while intriguing, lack empirical evidence and are generally considered speculative. The Taos hum remains an unsolved mystery. Despite extensive research and numerous investigations, no conclusive source has been identified. The phenomenon continues to be reported by residents, and a similar hum has even been documented in other locations around the world, including Bristol in the UK, Largs in Scotland, and Kokomo in Indiana, suggesting it may not be unique to Taos. Today, the Taos hum continues to be a subject of fascination and study. It's inspired artworks, documentaries, and numerous scientific papers, each attempting to unravel the mystery. For those who hear it, the hum is a persistent and sometimes distressing part of their lives. For the scientific community, it remains a compelling challenge, representing the intersection of environmental science, auditory perception, and the limits of human understanding. Number 3. The Dybbuk Box. The Dybbuk Box is one of the most infamous haunted objects in modern folklore, capturing the imaginations of paranormal enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Originating from Jewish legend, a dybbuk is a malicious spirit believed to be the dislocated soul of a dead person. According to tradition, a dybbuk can possess a living person, bringing misfortune and chaos until it's exorcised and sent back to the spiritual realm. The legend of the Dybbuk box as we know it today began with a story by Kevin Mannis. In 2001, Mannis purchased an antique wine cabinet at an estate sale in Portland, Oregon. The box supposedly belonged to a Holocaust survivor who had emigrated to the United States. Upon acquiring the box, Mannis began experiencing a series of strange and unsettling events, including disturbing nightmares and unexplained health issues. He later discovered that previous owners of the cabinet had also suffered from similar misfortunes. Mannis decided to sell the box on eBay, where he included a detailed and eerie description of its history and the bizarre occurrences that followed those who had it in their possession. The box was eventually purchased by Jason Haxton, a museum curator, who also experienced a series of unfortunate events once the object was in his home. Haxton's health deteriorated, and he began to suffer from chronic illnesses that baffled medical professionals. Believing the box to be the source of his misfortune, Haxton consulted with rabbis and spiritual advisors, eventually sealing the box and burying it in an undisclosed location. The Dybbuk box gained significant media attention, especially after it was featured in an episode of the television show Paranormal Witness. Its legend was further popularized by the 2012 horror film The Possession, which was loosely based on Mannis' story. The box's notoriety continued to grow, attracting the interest of paranormal investigator Zach Baggins. Haxton recovered the box and gave it to Baggins, who placed it in his haunted museum in Las Vegas. Baggins' interactions with the Dybbuk box have been well documented, most notably during his Ghost Adventures series, and a special COVID-era episode in which he claims to have confronted the malevolent spirit contained within. Baggins reported experiencing overwhelming feelings of dread, hallucinations, and physical ailments during his encounters with the box, reinforcing its reputation as one of the most haunted objects in the world. However, the authenticity of the Dybbuk box has been a topic of debate. In recent years, skepticism has grown, with some suggesting that the story might be an elaborate hoax. Kevin Mannis himself has admitted to embellishing aspects of the box's history, leading some to question the validity of the entire legend. Despite this, the Dybbuk box continues to fascinate, with believers and skeptics alike drawn to its mysterious and sinister allure. The Dybbuk box has sparked a wide range of theories that attempt to explain the source of its purported malevolent powers. These theories can be broadly categorized into supernatural, psychological, and skeptical perspectives. Each theory offers a different lens through which to understand the eerie phenomena associated with this infamous object. The most straightforward and traditional theory is that the Dybbuk box is indeed haunted by a dybbuk, a malicious spirit from Jewish folklore. According to this belief, the spirit inhabits the box and brings misfortune to anyone who owns it. Proponents of this theory cite the numerous accounts of bad luck, illness, and psychological disturbances experienced by the box's owners as evidence of the dybbuk's presence. Rituals performed by rabbis and other spiritual figures to contain or exorcise the dybbuk are seen as necessary to prevent the spirit from causing further harm. Another supernatural explanation is that the Dybbuk box acts as a portal or conduit to the spirit world. This theory suggests that the box does not just contain a single spirit, but serves as a gateway through which various entities can enter our realm. The disturbances and hauntings are attributed to different spirits that come and go through this portal. This would explain the wide range of paranormal experiences reported by different owners, ranging from shadowy apparitions to eerie sounds and sudden illnesses. A significant psychological theory is that the Dybbuk box's reputation and the stories surrounding it create a powerful suggestive effect on its owners. This theory posits that the owner's belief in the box's curse leads them to unconsciously manifest symptoms of anxiety, stress, and even physical illness. This phenomenon is akin to the placebo effect, where the belief in the box's malevolence is enough to cause real-world consequences. This theory is supported by the fact that many of the box's effects are subjective and vary widely between different individuals. Related to the power of suggestion is the idea of mass hysteria or collective delusion. As the story of the Dybbuk box spread through media and word of mouth, it created a cultural narrative that primed people to experience fear and paranoia when in its presence. This theory suggests that the intense media coverage, including books, TV shows, and movies, has amplified the psychological impact of the box, leading to a shared belief in its supernatural properties. One of the most straightforward skeptical theories is that the Dybbuk box is an elaborate hoax or a piece of performance art. This is lent credence by Kevin Mannis's admissions of embellishment to the story he originated. Skeptics argue that the box's story was concocted to create a viral sensation and to capitalize on the public's fascination with the paranormal. This theory is also supported by the commercial success and media attention that the Dybbuk box has garnered over the years. Skeptics also offer mundane explanations for the strange occurrences associated with the Dybbuk box. They argue that the box's supposed supernatural effects can be attributed to coincidence, confirmation bias, and pre-existing health conditions of the owners. For example, the reports of electronic malfunctions surrounding the box could be due to environmental factors like humidity or poor wiring, rather than ghostly presence. This theory emphasizes the need for critical thinking and scientific inquiry when evaluating paranormal claims. Regardless of its origins, the Dybbuk box has become a modern legend, a focal point for discussions about folklore, psychology, and the supernatural. Its story is a reminder of how powerful narratives can shape our perceptions and experiences, blurring the lines between myth and reality. Whether a genuine haunted object or a cleverly crafted tale, the Dybbuk box endures as a source of fascination. Number 2. The Enfield Poltergeist. The Enfield haunting remains one of the most infamous and controversial ghost stories in modern British history. The events that unfolded in the Enfield Borough of London between 1977 and 1979 captivated the public, spurred debates among paranormal investigators, and raised questions about the nature of the supernatural and the reliability of eyewitness accounts. The haunting began in August 1977 at the home of Peggy Hodgson, a single mother living with her 4 children, Margaret, 13, Janet, 11, Johnny, 10, and Billy, 7. The initial incidents were relatively minor and easy to overlook. Strange knocking sounds were heard and furniture seemingly moved on its own. However, the disturbances quickly escalated, capturing widespread attention. On August 30th, 1977, Peggy Hodgson called the police after her daughters, Janet and Margaret, reported that their beds were shaking and they heard peculiar knocking sounds. When a police constable visited, she claimed to have seen a chair move across the floor by itself. This incident marked the beginning of a series of increasingly bizarre and disturbing events. By September 1977, the haunting had intensified. Paranormal investigator Maurice Grouse of the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, joined the investigation. He was soon joined by Guy Lyon Playfair, another SPR member. The investigators documented various phenomena, including objects being thrown across rooms, strange noises, and Janet reportedly levitating. Janet, who was 11 years old at the time, appeared to be the focus of many of the disturbances. The phenomena continued through 1978, with Gross and Playfair spending extended periods at the Hodgson home. They recorded hundreds of hours of audio and video footage. During this time, Janet began speaking in a deep, gruff voice, claiming to be a man named Bill Wilkins who had died in the house years earlier. These recordings became some of the most fascinating, if controversial, pieces of evidence in the case. As the story gained media attention, it divided public opinion. Some people were convinced by the apparent authenticity of the events, while others remained skeptical. Critics pointed to inconsistencies in the children's accounts and the possibility of pranks or hoaxes. Skepticism was fueled by reports that the children, especially Janet, were caught bending spoons and otherwise attempting to manipulate the situation. On November 10, 1977, the Daily Mirror newspaper published a series of articles about the haunting, which brought even more scrutiny. Some skeptics accused the Hodgson family of perpetuating a hoax in a quest for attention or financial gain. The photographs published by the media, including images of Janet seemingly levitating, were also met with suspicion, with some suggesting she was simply jumping off her bed. The accusations of fraud came to a head when Janet admitted to faking some of the phenomena. She confessed to pranking the investigators and reporters on occasion, which significantly damaged the credibility of the entire case. However, she and her family maintained that while some events were staged, the majority of the phenomena were genuine and beyond their control. By 1979, the activity had significantly diminished, and the investigators withdrew from the house. The Hodgson family continued to experience occasional disturbances, but nothing on the scale of the previous 2 years. Janet and Margaret both eventually moved away, and the house returned to relative normalcy. In the years following the haunting, Janet and Margaret Hodgson have largely stayed out of the public eye. However, Janet in particular has spoken about the trauma of the events and the skepticism they faced. In interviews, she has reiterated that while some phenomena were faked out of desperation or fear, many experiences were real and inexplicable. Maurice Grosse continued to believe in the authenticity of the Enfield poltergeist until his death in 2006. Guy Lyon Playfair also maintained his belief in the case, writing a detailed account in his book, This House is Haunted. The Enfield poltergeist remains a topic of fascination and debate. It has inspired numerous books, documentaries, and even films such as The Conjuring 2. The case is often cited in discussions about the credibility of paranormal phenomena and the psychological and social factors that can contribute to such events. Despite the controversy and accusations of fraud, the Enfield haunting continues to intrigue those interested in the supernatural. The conflicting accounts and enduring mystery ensure that it remains one of the most talked about ghost stories of the 20th century. The legacy of the Enfield poltergeist lives on, not only through the media, but also in the realm of paranormal research. The case has been re-examined numerous times, with skeptics and believers alike delving into the extensive records left by Grosse and Playfair. These investigations continue to highlight the complexities of distinguishing between genuine paranormal activity and human deception or psychological phenomena. Number 1. The Kidnapping of Madison Nygaard. Born on July 16, 1987, to parents Pete Kenkins and Shelley Heeringa, Jessica Lynn Heeringa was the youngest of 3 sisters. She grew up in Michigan, living primarily with her father and stepmother. By the age of 22, Jessica found herself starting a family of her own when she became pregnant by her fiancé, Dakota Quayle Dyer. The couple welcomed their son, Zevin, who brought joy to their lives despite the financial strain they faced. In 2013, Dakota lost his job, and the financial burden fell heavily on Jessica. To support her family, she took a job at the Exxon gas station in Norton Shores, Michigan, where her warm demeanor made her a favorite among customers. On April 26th, Jessica was scheduled for the late shift. She left home that afternoon to pick up groceries before starting work at 4 p.m. She often worked alone, which she preferred, and it was not unusual for her to prop the back door open for a smoke or to let friends visit. Unfortunately, the gas station had no working CCTV, which later complicated the investigation. As the store was about to close, a regular customer named Craig Harpster stopped by to refill his gas tank. Inside, he found an eerie scene. The store was empty and unlocked, with Jessica's personal items, her purse, lighter, and cigarettes left behind. Craig called the police, describing the suspicious situation. Upon arrival, Norton Shore Police Department Detective Michael Casher found more troubling signs. Jessica's car was still parked outside. Her keys, jacket, and pocketbook containing over $400 were inside, and the cash register still held the day's takings. Outside the back door, they found a small pool of blood and a battery cover for a Walter P22 pistol's laser sight. Witnesses, including the store manager Sue Follett, reported seeing a silver minivan around the station around the time Jessica disappeared. Sue described the driver as a man with wild blonde hair, wearing a red or orange sweatshirt. Despite these clues, the lack of surveillance footage hindered the investigation. Police questioned local man Jeffrey Willis, who drove a silver Dodge Caravan resembling the one described by witnesses. Willis claimed he was home with his wife during the kidnapping, and nothing suspicious was found in his van. With over 1,000 vehicles to check, the police moved on. Despite extensive efforts, including viewing local CCTV footage that captured a silver van near the gas station, the investigation stalled. The community was left in fear and speculation. Jessica's fiancé Dakota was initially a suspect due to reports of their strained relationship and allegations of abuse. However, his alibi and phone records cleared him of suspicion. Attention also turned to Jesse Ammerman, a 37-year-old plumber and regular customer who was rumored to have had an affair with Jessica. He was brought in for questioning but had an alibi corroborated by phone records. With no solid leads, the case went cold. In June 2014, another tragedy struck the area. Rebecca Bletch, a 36-year-old physical therapist, was found dead after going for a jog near her home in Dalton Township. Initially thought to be a hit and run, the discovery of shell casings and a bullet wound revealed she had been murdered. With no leads, Rebecca's case also went cold. The breakthrough came in April 2016, when 16-year-old Madison Nygaard was abducted. Madison had been walking along River Road in Muskegon County after a night out when Jeffrey Willis offered her a ride. Once inside the van, Willis pulled a gun, but Madison managed to escape by jumping out of the moving vehicle and seeking help from a nearby house. Her bravery and quick thinking provided crucial information to the police. Investigators quickly linked Willis to the failed abduction through surveillance footage and witness descriptions. A search of his home and van revealed a stolen Walter P.22 pistol kit and hundreds of tapes showing women being kidnapped and murdered. Forensic tests connected the bullets from the pistol to those found at the scene of Rebecca Bletch's murder. The evidence also linked Willis to Jessica Huringa's disappearance. The Walter P.22 matched the battery cover found at the gas station, and further investigation revealed that Willis had been in the area on the night Jessica vanished. Despite the lack of direct DNA evidence, the circumstantial evidence was overwhelming. In a twist, Willis's cousin Kevin Bloom admitted to helping dispose of Jessica's body. He claimed Willis had called him the day after the abduction, showing him Jessica, who was bound and injured. Bloom described how they buried her body, although her remains have never been found. Willis was arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including the attempted abduction of Madison Nygaard, the murder of Rebecca Bletch, and the kidnapping and presumed murder of Jessica Huringa. He received life sentences without the possibility of parole. The trials revealed the extent of his depravity and brought some closure to the victims' families. The Jessica Huringa Act was proposed to improve security at gas stations, requiring surveillance cameras or dual staffing during late hours. While not yet passed into law, it has highlighted the significant need for better safety measures. Additionally, the Rebecca Bletch Law was enacted, mandating that convicted criminals listen to victim impact statements. The bravery of Madison Nygaard not only saved her own life, but also exposed Jeffrey Willis, solving the murders of Jessica Huringa and Rebecca Bletch. These cases underscore the importance of community vigilance and the profound impact one person's courage can have towards bringing justice to victims and their families.